The Confucian canon is a massive textual corpus, typically associated with abstract ethical philosophy, filial piety, and high-minded maxims about governance. But abstract ethics alone cannot operate a bureaucracy. The working class of the ancient Chinese administration, the lower nobility, known historically as the Qingxi Dafu, depended on strict mechanical rules to conduct their daily administrative and social duties. Observe the exact angle of the posture, the deliberate geometry of the arms, and the specific orientation within the room. This precision requires a manual. This diagram maps the Sanli, or the three ritual classics. These three texts form the foundational triad of Confucian ritual instruction. The outer pillars of this triad are the Zhouli, which outlines the idealized administrative rites of the Zhou dynasty, and the Liji, a comprehensive record of ritual theory and anecdotes. Because of its broad philosophical appeal, the Liji dominates historical attention, frequently eclipsing the third text in the triad. That center text is the Yili, translated today as Etiquette and Rites. However, its original titles reveal its commanding status: the Li Jing, meaning the classic of rites, or the Shili, meaning the rites of the lower nobility. Where the other classics philosophize, the Yili commands. It dictates exact physical actions, specifies the exact material implements to be used in ceremonies, and assigns rigid spatial orientations for every participant in a room. The Yili functions as a rigid algorithmic handbook. It is designed to physically encode state order directly into the bodies and daily motions of the ruling class. Every ancient Chinese dynasty operated under state rituals, but the granular, step-by-step regulations for those earliest state ceremonies are largely lost to time. To fill that void, Confucian scholars documented strict rules of etiquette tailored specifically to their own socio-political tier. This circular timeline plots the 17 surviving chapters of the Yili, forming a definitive, comprehensive blueprint for the lower nobility. The system begins by regulating the private sphere. The first two chapters detail the precise protocols for coming of age, known as the capping ceremony, and the exacting negotiations required for marriage. The text then dominates social and political life. 8 chapters control the rules for formal visits between officers, district symposia, banquets, and high-stakes interstate diplomatic missions. The final vector establishes strict continuity during societal rupture, providing detailed instructions for mourning garments, multi-day obsequies, and the exact beasts to be offered in ancestral sacrifices. By documenting these 17 distinct phases, the text leaves no major socio-political interaction to chance or personal interpretation. Even physical recreation is codified. Chapters 5 and 7 regulate district and great archery contests, standardizing the physical execution of noble arts across the administration. By standardizing the entire life cycle, from the etiquette of drinking to the mechanics of archery and marriage, the Yili translates abstract Confucian piety into a highly replicable system of statecraft. To understand the text's mechanical granularity, we can examine Chapter 12, Obsequies of an Ordinary Officer. The death of a nobleman creates a dangerous vacuum in the social hierarchy. The Yili counters the chaos of grief with extreme physical precision. This schematic illustrates the principal room of the private apartments. The text dictates that the deceased must be positioned exactly here, covered with a specific coverlet used for the smaller dressing. A soul caller is deployed to invite the spirit back. He must descend by a ladder against the front end of the east wall, stand in the center of the roof, and face strictly north to issue his call 3 times. The material requirements for handling the corpse are equally specific. A servant must use a horn spoon, not wood or bronze, to plug the teeth open, and an easy body rest to prop the feet into position. To manage the attending mourners, the text establishes strict spatial segregation. The master of ceremonies is plotted exactly to the east of the west steps, commanded to face south to instruct the messenger of woe. The female family members are assigned positions close to the couch, facing east. The rest of the womenfolk are forced strictly outside the door of the room, facing north. The remaining menfolk are pushed physically lower into the architecture, required to stand in the court below the hall, also facing north. When the ritual concludes, the empty space retains the strict geometry that the participants were forced to embody. The text functions as a rigid map of spatial hierarchy, charting the movement of the mourners through every specific doorway and compass orientation. By mandating compass directions and spatial boundaries during a family crisis, the ritual physically enforces the strict Confucian class structure at the exact moment when society is most vulnerable. Documents requiring this level of institutional compliance were highly vulnerable to imperial collapse and war. A massive portion of the original protocols, 39 chapters known as the non-canonical rites, did not survive the Han period. This flowchart tracks the text's survival. In the early Han dynasty, a scholar named Master Gao Tong preserved the core 17 chapters, planting the seed for the manual's continuation. By the reign of Emperor Shuen, these 17 chapters evolved into the New Text, or Jinwenjing lineage. This version was heavily institutionalized and formally taught at the National University. Simultaneously, an alternative lineage emerged. The Old Script, or Guwenjing versions, were physically discovered hidden in the walls of the Kong family mansion. These localized versions directly competed for academic and political legitimacy, fracturing the scholarly community. The fracture was eventually repaired near the end of the later Han period by the vital unifying figure, Zhang Xuan. Zhang Xuan rigorously compared the Old Script and New Text versions, compiling a definitive, newly arranged text. His commentary secured the manual's survival into the Jin period, where it finally earned the title Yili. The Yili survived imperial transitions through an intense, calculated process of scholarly synthesis and historiographical consensus. Despite its dry, mechanical nature, the text exerted a continuous gravitational pull on the administrations of later dynasties. Scholars across the Tang and Qing dynasties, including Jia Gongyan and Hu Peihu, dedicated massive commentaries to unpacking and analyzing its rules. Its demands were so rigid that in the 11th century, the Yili was briefly excluded from the canon of Confucian classics, as its strict dictates clashed with shifting imperial priorities. Ultimately, the text crossed into global modernity. In 1917, John Steele translated it into English, recognizing the immense anthropological value of its operational rules. The enduring legacy of the Yili clarifies a central reality of ancient governance. The Confucian vision of order was predicated on a specific, granular set of physical behaviors. It required an operational matrix that dictated exactly where to stand, what they had to wear, and precisely how they moved. For the ancient Chinese lower nobility, a cohesive society was not abstractly philosophized. It was physically, spatially, and exactingly engineered through everyday ritual.